Until now, we've worked with one view primarily in Word, and it's been the print layout view, but there are other views available in Word. For example, we touched on earlier very briefly that on the status bar down below here are three buttons. One is called Read Mode, one's called Print Layout, and one's called Web Layout. And these are three different views of the document. And we've been in Print Layout up until now. Let's have a look at the Read Mode. The Read Mode view looks like this. And the Read Mode view is designed to help you easily read a document. It's got a little triangle on the right hand side here where I can move to the next screen and the next screen. And this triangle here moves me back to the previous screen and the previous screen. There's also certain tools that you can have when you're working with this particular view. If I go to Tools, I can find a certain word, or I can do a smart lookup. Let's double click Space to select Space, go to Tools and choose Smart Lookup. Smart Lookup will look up the word and give you information from the web, from various sites, about what space means. And so it's giving me information about space and outer space from Wikipedia, some images from Bing, and even some official websites. So that's what the Smart Lookup does, and I can just close that. So if there's a word you're not sure about, simply do a Smart Lookup. Other things you can do are under View. For example, I can edit the document. I can change the column widths. I might change it to narrow. And I can see more columns and more information on one screen, or I can go back to View, back to column width and put it back to the default. I can even go to View and Page Color and change the page color to perhaps inverse, which for some would make it easier to read, and for others not so much. I'll go back to View, back to Page Color and choose None. If I go to View again, I can choose things like Layout and put it in a paper layout as opposed to a column layout, but I can also do things like reading aloud.
Iterating in 3 stages. When you think of the influence the space you live in have over your life, it's surely worth the effort or planning and experimenting a little to create the rooms you are really blissful with.
And just press Escape when you want to get out of Read Mode. So if I go back into Read Mode, you can actually easily read a document using this view, and Escape will take me out. Let's have a look at the third button down here. The third button is called Web Layout, and this is designed for websites. So the whole concept of A4 paper, portrait or landscape and page breaks pretty much goes out the window. Instead, your text is designed to work with the screen, and so I see no page breaks. So a web layout is if you're designing a web page using Word. Other views that are available, and let me just go back first of all to Print Layout, which is our default and middle button. Other views exist under View in the ribbon. Under View in the ribbon, there's a repeat of Read Mode, Print Layout, and Web Layout, but there's also Outline. Outline is a particular view that we look at in the Stage 3 and is very useful when you work with large and complex documents that have quite a detailed outline. But for now, at this particular stage, I'd say click the button that closes the outline view. Another view on the View tab in the ribbon is Draft. And Draft View is a very basic sort of view, and otherwise used to be called the normal view. And this again comes into fashion when we start using the information in Stage 3 with long and complex documents. At this stage, I would just recognize it as not a view that you would find useful at this point, and I would go back to Print Layout. So there's a variety of views that you can switch to by accident or otherwise. Another view is Print Preview, which we can click the Print Preview button we added to the Quick Access Toolbar button, or we can go File Print and also get to Print Preview this way. By going into Print Preview, what you can do is you can actually navigate between the pages. And down here it says I'm looking at page 1 of 6. And I can move to page 2, page 3, page 4, 5, and 6. And I can move to previous pages and just navigate and basically see how the text flows and how it will be printed across the pages if I was to print it. You can also zoom in using the little slider down here, which is currently on 75%. You can click the 75% and say, actually give me 100%, which increases it, or you can hit the minus and reduce it, or the plus and expand it, and you can also zoom to page using this button here, which quickly allows you to see the entire page. So you have various zoom levels as well. You've also got page setup options in here. This page setup hyperlink will allow you to change the margins as we've looked at earlier, allow you to print in landscape or portrait, and change the paper size under paper to A4 or A3 or A5, whatever paper size you like. So there's various page setup options in here that you can set. You've also got page setup options immediately apparently here in these drop downs. You can, for example, choose to print all the pages or just the current page. You can choose to print pages 1, 5, and say 5, or let's say 1, 3, and say 5 to 10. I know we don't have 10 pages, but I just wanted to give you an example of how you use the comma and the dash to say print pages 1, 3, 5 dash to 10. So you can be quite specific. You don't have to print all of them. You can also print one-sided, or you can print on both sides if your printer has that capability. You can also collate them, and you can print in portrait or landscape. You can also change the paper size from A4 to A5 or A3 using this option here. You can change your margins to be very narrow or normal or wide, or you can even create your own custom margins. And you can print one page per sheet, or 2 pages on one piece of paper, or 4 pages on one piece of paper, making it increasingly smaller text to read. So there's a number of page setup drop downs you can choose from. To close a print preview, we simply hit the back button here or press escape, and that will take us out of print preview. Notice also that the layout tab in the ribbon also has a number of options that we just looked at, such as margins, paper orientation, paper size, and being able to print these as well. As well as double-clicking the dark part of the ruler also takes us into page setup. So there's a variety of locations you can set up your page.